Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of the Bravemark Designer Spotlight, a new series where we sit down with talented brand designers for a casual chat about their careers, their work, and the stories behind them. Today, we're joined by Karl McCarthy, a UK-based brand designer known for his unique, playful, handcrafted style that uses vibrant colors, quirky characters, and raw messages. Karl, I'm excited to have you on as our very first guest. Welcome to the Designer Spotlight.
Thank you so much, and thank you for those for that kind introduction. Really happy to be here. Really excited.
Great. So I hope you like my intro. But I think to kick things off, it would be great if you make a little intro about yourself. Just tell the audience a little bit about who you are and what keeps you busy.
Yeah, sure. I'll keep it brief. I won't bore you too much. But yeah, I'm Karl McCarthy. I'm a designer from the northeast of England, and that's where I work currently from home, running my own design business. And I focus a lot on creating, like you mentioned there, like really bold, punchy designs for brands that just want to like be different, want to stand out and be a bit more on the rebellious side, let's say. And that's something that I'm naturally drawn to myself as a designer. So getting to do that kind of work it's just a dream come true to me.
I'm a big fan of your work, right? So when we first started chatting, I don't know if you remember, but I got your T-shirt.
Oh, no way. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. And, I was going around your website. I know you're doing a rebrand and everything,
yeah.
But there's no shop any longer, right? Or
no, so the shop was kind of separate to like my own brand. Originally, I set that up as a kind of just a separate avenue, just to express some creativity that I couldn't really express in my own brand.
Yeah.
So that's where that kind of set up under the name of Box of Skulls.
Right.
And I just found it was it was gathering dust, to be honest, Johan. And naturally just kind of just went to the side, just kind of forgot about it in some ways. But now I'm finding that some of that creativity is creeping into my own kind of style, my own brand. And I think eventually I will put another shop up on my website that is like under my own brand. So it's not like a separate thing.
Right.
So you'll see like designs that are more associated with me rather than like the T-shirt that you're wearing there.
Cool. Yeah, no. Great. So let's, go back a little bit to the origin story. I think it would be great to know how you got into brand design. If you can tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think my like journey, it's quite similar to like other designers. So my background is in sign making, and vehicle graphics. And I did that. I did that for about 12 years, I think. And that began as an apprenticeship. So as soon as I left school, like high school or secondary school, I really wanted to do a job that was creative. So I went to like a job seeker type place, looking for like something that is related to creating or design. And the closest thing they had was a screen printer. So it'd be like printing T-shirts on like an old carousel with the inks and the squeegees and everything else, really old school stuff. And within a week of being an apprentice doing that, I was put on a placement at this sign makers. And that's where I was kind of introduced to the world of branding, where I could see how a logo was designed, because prior to that, like I would see like obviously branding out in the world, but I'd never understand like how somebody would make that, like what software they would use. So that's where it all started for me, and that's where specifically my love for logo design started. So when we would get jobs in at this sign makers, naturally I would be drawn more to the design side rather than like the fitting of the signs, like going out, fitting signs on the buildings.
Mm-hmm.
I would much prefer to be kind of just be sat at a desk, pushing like pixels around, designing logos. And that's really where I can pinpoint where my interest for branding really blossomed.
Great. That's really interesting. I did work in a print shop for a couple of years, and
Yeah.
I think it's a really interesting way to start or like be, in your early career, because nowadays a lot of designers don't have contact with print, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, things have changed quite a lot. I was doing this maybe 25 years ago, or I think even a little bit earlier than that. So knowing about print is a really important part of this, especially if you get into packaging and stuff like that later on.
Absolutely. And that's something like working at a job like that. There's so many skills you can take and use like in the world of branding. Like I was equipped with all these skills. I'm so lucky to have the background that I had. Even talking to customers, it was like a customer facing job as well, almost like you'd be handling your own
Yeah, I
clients
was doing that.
from start to finish, which was fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. Great. So what was there like a turning point then in this journey that you said, okay, brand identity design is what I'm going to do like for the rest of my life, or for my career?
Well, naturally, I've always been like a creative. I've always wanted to do something ultimately creative, right? I was creating stuff, whether it would be illustrating stuff, or anything in that kind of realm. And I think for me, the thing that kind of switched on in my brain where I thought I could really like make a go of this was when I would finish the working day, I would come home and I would like practice like logo designs, or I would take work home with me and work on home just because I really wanted to get better at it. And I managed to find this website. I think it's still going, but I don't know how good it is now. But it's called 99 Designs, and it's like a contest website where it's not just logo design. There's loads of stuff on there, but there was a category on there with logo design where clients would basically upload a brief with a sum of money, and then it would just be a free for all, basically, with like designers submitting their logos, hoping to land a chance of winning the money. So I would just do that. I would do that in my own time after work. And I must have uploaded maybe about 10 different projects. I wouldn't think too much of it. I wake up the next day, go to work, not expecting anything. It was just more of a training exercise. But I remember one morning I woke up and I got an email saying, "Congratulations, you've won a contest." And I was like freaking out.
Nice.
So I was like sweating. I was like, oh my God, no way. So I'm like rushing to this website to see which one it was. And I still have that logo actually. I class this as my very first like paid logo, paid job.
Yeah.
And it was, at the time, it was like a big deal for me as well. Obviously getting paid for something that I was like basically doing as a hobby on the side. And I think it was like $300, which for me at the time was like huge, on top of like the wage that I was already getting as well. And that's when it clicked, really. I thought, like, there's definitely something in this career, like where I could jump to focusing on logo design or branding as a whole and try and make like a career out of it.
That's a great story. I remember that site. I never participated, but I think it's great. I mean, and if you won, right, it definitely means something, because there's a lot of people,
Yeah,
competing with each other.
exactly. Yeah,
So
there's
that's
a
really
lot of
good.
a lot of rejection you've got to kind of face on that website,
Yeah.
which can be a good thing. That could be a positive thing, like learning how to cope with like negative feedback and stuff like that. But I mean, I'd recommend it to kind of designers kind of starting up, maybe wanted to brush up on the skills, build a portfolio, but it's not, it's not something you could do full time and possibly like make a living out of.
Yeah.
Unless you were uploading like hundreds and hundreds of logos a day, which can't be that good.
No. I agree. I think it's good for practice
Yeah.
for, early stages, but yeah, it's also, there's a lot of, you know, negative talks about these kind of
Yeah.
websites that, they're like
So true.
exploiting designers for getting so many variations. And
Mm.
I mean, but, it's a free world at the end, right? So if
Yeah.
you decide to go, it's like,
Yeah.
but yeah. Okay, cool. I didn't know about that. Excellent. So moving on there in your career, like, when was it that everything started to level up? I mean, was there like a defining moment that things started to change for you? You went full time with your freelance business, or?
Yeah. 100%. There was a definite point where it gave me that opportunity. So I was still working my like 9 to 5 job, and I think I was about probably about, maybe I think it was like the last year I was working though, so about 12 years in.
Mhm.
And now obviously I'm still doing like the logo design stuff on the side. By this point, I've got an Instagram account where I'm posting like logo design challenges, like a 50-day logo design challenge. Um, Still quite content with my job, just kind of plodding along, coasting along. Um, and then I get a call from this number. I don't recognize this number. Anyway, I answer the call, and it's some guy from a design agency, and he's wanting to outsource some logo work or some design work. So obviously I was interested. I said I would send over an email once I finish work with, the type of things that I can do, what I can offer you, and then like a hourly rate as well. So it would be like some like freelance work on an hourly basis. So I had to work out, how much my hourly rate would be, which like at the time I had no idea. So I was straight on to Google, like how much do designers charge per hour? And I think
Yeah.
I put something ridiculous in at first. Um, Fortunately, he wasn't like too scared away. He actually said, "Oh, like,
Oh,
well,
you went for a high
yeah." So
target.
I
Okay,
went,
good, good.
I went high,
Okay,
because
that's
I
good.
thought, why not? Like, I've got nothing to lose.
Right.
Um, he didn't go for the offer, but the
Okay.
offer that he did come back with was more than what I was earning at this 9 to 5.
Right.
Um, Obviously, I wasn't working the same kind of hours, but anyway, I went for it. I said, "Yep, I'll do it." I worked out, the times when I could do it after work, and this guy knew my whole situation as well, so he wasn't going to take the mick out of me or anything.
Hmm.
And it was literally like the next day they send over just logo work. They send over the brief, clients' interests, like a little mood board almost, and then I would just go to town on it and deliver these logos, and they'd go through with like minimal revisions. I'd get paid for it, and that was it. And then they'd just keep sending work, and eventually the the work from the freelance side like overtook the my 9 to 5, and it was just like it was a no brainer really. I thought, well,
Yeah.
this is eventually what I want to do anyway. This is like a really big stepping stone and a big opportunity. So I kind of just grabbed it by both hands and just took it.
Great. Great. So you quit then basically at some
Yeah,
point, right?
basically, yeah. And it was tough, obviously, like working there for that many years. And it was like a small group of guys as well. Like we were all like really good friends. So it was bittersweet, but I knew
Hmm.
ultimately like when you're given an opportunity like that where it presents itself without you kind of doing what, like I wasn't looking for it at the time. It just kind of just came to me. So I felt really lucky, and I thought, it's now or never, basically.
Do you think it was a lot to do with you posting on Instagram then all your work?
I
Or
think so. I don't know if it's like a direct response to me, like sharing my work. Like he didn't come to me and say, I've saw your work on Instagram.
hmm
But I do think it does help having like a portfolio of work there for people
yeah.
to see. So yeah, I think if it was referenced at some point, but I don't think it was like a direct thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool. Yeah, I've been going through your Instagram actually these last days, and I've been going right down to
Right to the
the
bottom.
right to the early stages, right? And
I can only
you can
apologize.
no, no, no. I think it's great because you can see the transition, right? Like
Yeah.
there's one certain style that is a little bit, obviously
Mm.
you haven't defined your style yet, right? So it's a
Yeah.
little bit different stuff, more corporate, more
Yeah.
traditional kind of styles that work really well.
Mm.
But then there's a change. You can definitely see it, right? Which I thought that was really good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those, like you say, there is a difference of style. Like early on in the days, it was some of the logos and stuff were like quite geometric, like built using grids and all that kind of thing. Whereas now it's a much more freehand, a bit more creativity involved. But I always think like, should I be archiving those or like removing them from my account? Is it going to send like the wrong kind of message? But I do think it's good to see that kind of growth and um, the kind of journey you've gone through to get to that point.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I because the other times I've been looking at your account, I've only looked through like, the most recent years,
Yeah.
right? And it all has this certain style, which is you, and it defines you really well. And I think, for designers, this is what you want, right? You want to find your unique style that defines you, and then it's like you can explore from there on.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's the best thing for anyone really. Like to get out there, to get noticed. I think it's a really good it's a good thing to do, just to be yourself, because that's your own unique thing. There's no one else like you. I think there's a lot of power in leaning into the quirks that you have, or the personality that you have, and just coming across just purely as you.
Yeah, yeah, no, I totally agree. And I would say, I said it before, right? Like you play a lot with quirky characters. There's something there that reminds me of like skateboard kind of style
Mm,
or heavy metal or rock
yeah.
kind of. It's like a mix of things, right? It's very cool.
Yeah, like I am naturally drawn to like skate culture, tattoo culture. Love obviously rock music, punk music.
Mm.
Um, I'm not a skater myself. I wish I could skate. But yeah, I think naturally I'm just drawn to that kind of like energy, that like lawless, like unapologetic kind of style.
Yeah, yeah. With your later designs, I can definitely see you're taking more
Yeah,
risks, right? And being
absolutely.
more,
Yeah.
being more funny with stuff, which is really cool.
Yeah, yeah. I think why not? Why not? Life's too serious. The world's going through a lot right now.
So yeah, definitely. So those new brands that you're doing, they're like brands for yourself, or is it for
Yeah,
clients?
yeah. So these are for myself, and this
Right.
is I've said this before. This is a way of just um because sometimes when you work with clients, you don't necessarily get like the stuff that you want to do, or you don't get like full creativity. And at
Mm.
the end of those projects, you're always feeling like you maybe you could have done more. So this is kind of just like an outlet for me to
Yeah.
design for myself, firstly, but then also show to a potential client the possibilities of what I can do. If that's something that resonates with them, that then great.
hmm So basically, the brands, right? They need to make a match with your style before, right? So, and I think that's a
Yeah,
good way to get clients, right? It's not
yeah,
for everyone, but
no.
if it's the brand that needs something like what you do, then it's the perfect match, right? And they will let your creativity go wild. So that's a good way.
Yeah, and I think that's like my style now has come from when I did the kind of the geometric stuff, where like I think there's a lot of people who could do that and do that really well. Whereas the stuff that I do, it feels more personal, and it's got my own personal style in it, and that's something that I genuinely love doing. And hopefully, a lot of other people love that kind of style too, and will naturally just think of me when they think of that style, or when they want to hire someone who is a bit more daring, a bit more out there, they'll come to me. That's the goal, anyway.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
So is there a project that you're most proud of, and maybe we could share the screen and show it. I don't if possible.
I think can I show the screen? Yeah.
I have your Instagram
Oh,
open
you
here.
do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it won't be far down actually.
Oh,
It'll be the Inferno one. So the Inferno Studios, where it's like this flaming head, which is like the mascot.
I think I got it here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna share it here so people can see as well.
Yeah, sweet.
Let's see if I can share the screen. Here we go. This one, right?
Yeah, so that's like that was like showing off the sketches. So there should be one like further down where you can see it as a whole. But that one, I would say, was like the very first one that I was able to like fully express like my own style. And it really kind of set the pace for what I wanted to do in the future. And since doing that project and sharing that project, there's been a lot of people come my way, like referencing that design, referencing that whole project, and saying did like something similar to that. And it's just something a little bit different that kind of broke up the norm that was going on in my profile at the minute. But yeah, it was just such a lovely project to do, and it's when you get something like that where you thoroughly enjoy every stage of it, and you're kind of sad to see it go. It's a really good one.
Yeah. I can imagine. You had lots of fun doing this. I mean, this is great, right? If you enjoy doing your work so much, this is, it doesn't get much better than that, right?
Exactly. Honestly, it was a dream. It was a dream.
Cool. Okay, let's carry on with a few more questions. So what about mentors or like any design heroes that influenced, your work? Or would you say you have someone?
I mean, back in the day, there was maybe a couple, but these were like designers who were going through the same thing as me. Like when I started my Instagram, I started it with doing these like logo design challenges, and there was a lot of designers doing the same things, and we kind of like all connected the same way. We started our own group chats, like hyping each other up, really, being positive about each other, sharing each other's work and all the rest. I don't think there's any kind of like one particular person that I've looked up to be honest. I think it's just been like a collective kind of like inspiration or guidance from like design community as a whole. Learning from this person, referencing this person's work, and just kind of being guided in that sense just by like a lot of people.
That's pretty cool. So you guys were giving each other feedback and showing off your stuff. Okay.
Yeah. And this was like, I think 2020. And there's a lot of those designers who I still follow today. Like they're still going, they're still posting work.
Hmm.
which is really, really cool to see. Like we've been on this same journey together, from day dot, like from doing the same thing.
Great. Amazing. This is something that I never like experienced. I mean, in my career, it was always like, I mean, the people I work with, obviously, but
Mm.
I was never in social media. So yeah, I haven't lived that.
Yeah, to be honest, back then it was very social. It's not so much now. I don't know if it's just like because the platforms changed so
Hmm.
much, but or just because like we were like very young designers, we're like very excited.
Yeah,
Obviously
yeah,
trying to find our own style and flair, but now we're kind of just like we're at that point where we know what we're doing now. We're fine on our own.
yeah. Cool, cool. All right. So a few more questions now, like a little bit um, to understand, your philosophy and a few things.
Yeah.
So what do you think, you know, what makes a brand identity powerful, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I think um, something that really sticks, something that's memorable. Like you sort of see it the first time and you can't get it out of your head. Um, it coming hard to ignore. I think a lot of people these days, like they'll jump on trends and stuff like that. And when a lot of people do that, you kind of just become a bit of a blur. You just sort of blend in with other brands doing the same thing. So something that's a little bit different, cuts through the noise, sticks with you, and that's what people remember. If you can sort of play on their emotions as well, um, and a brand that's consistent, right? So wherever it shows up, it looks solid, um, it's memorable, becoming hard to ignore, and yeah, I think that's what I would say.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Um, and why do you think brand identity is like important for a business?
Well, it's important because it's like the face of your business, right? It's what people look at first and decide if they want to trust you or not before they even talk to you. It's like first impressions. So um, if you get that wrong, like first of all, then you've lost them completely. Um, it's that thing that it does the talking for you when you're not in the room. Um, and yeah, and it's a strong identity gives, your business credibility. It makes it memorable. And it helps it stand out, which is like, as I'm sure you'll know, it's like super hard to stand out these days. So having something that is really strong looking, consistent, um, and I feel like you need to like create something like scroll stopping as well these days. Um, I think people's attention spans are just gone out the window. You need to like really be sort of really on it, really hot, and just create a solid identity that captures people's attentions.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right. What about young brand designers today? What common mistakes do you see them making?
Um, well, to be honest, I mean, like brand designers, young brand designers now, I think, are so well equipped with like they've got all these tools. They've got like artificial intelligence. I think it's very hard for like people to make mistakes now with like all the help
Mm,
that they've got, and the amounts of tutorials on YouTube about how to do this, how to do that. I think it's very difficult to kind of slip up, but I do think there's still little mistakes that we've all made, like as designers, like in the early days, whether it's, not taking a deposit before sending work
okay.
over. Um, I've been there before, and that was like almost like the first mistake you make, and that's like the big one. Um, I think in a design sense, like a visual sense, it's probably like just overworking designs, making things too complicated looking, too
Mm-hmm.
cluttered, like too many elements, too many colors, and this isn't just like logo design, it's like like an identity as a whole. Um, and I think they do this just because, like, if we look at a logo, they kind of see everything like as an opportunity to, like, because I've got this space here, I need to fill this space. I need to put as much detail into these areas as possible because the space allows. But it always goes back to that saying, less is definitely more. I know it's like super cliche to say, but I always come back to it. It's all about refining for me. Just refine, and as long as it still makes sense, then you're absolutely fine. Um, Also, I see a lot of designers just kind of, once they've kind of done the logo design, like, it feels like sometimes the creativity stops at that as well. Like, they won't put as much effort into, selecting a color palette, or working on some nice typography, or like a pattern design. Um, a lot of like pattern designs I see would just be like a repeat of that logo, like over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that like feels quite lazy. Um, and like I've done it, and this I know I've learned from these mistakes, but um, you'll probably find something like buried deep down on my Instagram profile where I've done that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
I, I think that's a really good point that you said there, and I've done that
yeah,
many times as well. Doing logos, and just focusing on the logo, of course, like
mm,
the colors, and then it's like, okay, that's the brand, right?
yeah,
And like, I think in a designer's mind, they can see it, they can envision it, but if you're gonna sell it to a real brand and stuff, they need all these other elements and
absolutely,
mockups. Like, I never did mockups for my brand designs back in the day, right? Like,
yeah,
now it's like, how could I ever done it without that?
I know exactly, and that's something that we all do. Like, our first logo design project, we just send over the logo on like a white background, and that's all you'll see.
Yeah,
Whereas now, like, I feel like you've really got to sell it with mock-ups and make it look as realistic as possible, just to make that vision like effortless for the client.
yeah, mockups and messaging as well, right? That's another
Yeah.
super important. And I
Oh
know
yeah.
you work really good with that. I love the messaging behind your brands.
Yeah,
It's
that's
always,
probably my favorite part. Like, when it comes
yeah,
to like strap lines or slogans,
hmm,
like, once
yeah,
I've got like the name like nailed, and I've got like the logo done, when it
yeah,
gets to the point where, right, I need some catchy strap lines, some catchy headers,
yeah, yeah,
that's like when I really have a lot of fun.
yeah. No, definitely. I mean, it's the brand at the end is the whole combination of
Mm,
all these
yeah.
things, right? And these little details, they really make
Oh yeah.
you stand out. And I mean, that's why you're doing amazing work. And I think you're what I see from you is like every time it's getting better and better. And I'm sure you
Appreciate
must
that.
be getting great projects your way, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's like all as a result of just posting like what I want to be paid for. Like, that's the end
Hmm.
goal. Like, attracting the clients who love that kind of style. Want to stand out by having silly messaging, or silly graphics. Well, yeah, it's honestly, it's been one thing after another. It's been like it's not been like that all the time. It's been like a steady thing, but each year it gets better and better, and I'm doing more stuff that I really love to do.
Cool. Great. Okay, let's carry on. I mean, super interesting. I think we could talk more about stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
this, right?
hundred
Yeah, yeah.
percent.
But let's continue here. I have some questions around brand identity guidelines, right? Obviously, Bravemark, we're really crazy about brand guidelines and stuff. So,
Yeah.
what's your take on brand guidelines? Like, why are they important?
Well, it's like a rule book, isn't it, for the brand? I like to think of it more as like a toolkit. Just giving these clients basically everything they need to build on like what you've done for them already. And it keeps everything from falling apart, and on track. I don't think everybody needs them. I think a lot of big businesses who, they've got like a lot of people working for them, the chances are they're going to be outsourcing work from other people. They're going to need some kind of document that tells them, this is how our brand looks. Follow these rules, and everything's great. On the other side, like if you were working with a really small business, like it's run by one person, they're not going to need something too big. It could just be like a 1-page kind of document that says, this is your color palette. These are the fonts you use. There's your logo, basically. And, don't do this with your logo. Don't do that. But yeah, I do think they're important. And I think it's just one of those things that seals the deal at the end of a project for me. Like that's like a point where, everything's wrapped up. You've got everything you need in there. This is exactly how your business looks. This is how you can achieve that same look yourself by following these guides. And this, and build on what you've already created.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I also think it's worth pointing out that, once you're the designer, you're the brand designer, you finish your work, and then the brand goes on, right? It lives on, and other designers will come and take, and, I've been handed different brand guidelines of different sorts, or sometimes nothing, right?
Yeah.
You just get a logo, and then like, okay, we'll keep the colors, and, and then there's iterations when a new designer comes on board. Sometimes this happens, but with the guidelines, right, you can always follow, have a more clear path onto, what you need to do. And if you're going to make changes, it's like, what to take in consideration, right? Like if you're going to make them, or,
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we think that they are super important as well. And, that, they should be something that's more actionable. We keep saying this word, right? Like it's something more of a handy thing that you can use all the time. There are these big companies, right, and brands, they have like 200-page brand guidelines, which, whenever I get one in front of me, it's like, wow, who's going to go through this, right? And I get it. Big brands, they might need them, but there's smaller brands or startups, and everything's a brand nowadays, right?
It just depends on who you're working with at the end of the day. Like if you're gonna work with like Coca-Cola or something, obviously they're gonna expect like a really thorough document where you explain everything. The whys and hows and don'ts and do's. But yeah, like I say, if you're just working with a solo business, like if they were sent a 200-page document of like how to use their bakery logo, like, and why you can't rotate it 30 degrees at an angle, like it's just going to go straight over the head. Like they're going to get nothing out of it.
Yeah. So, sometimes these huge docs are overdone, right? But I mean,
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah. So when you finish a project, and you hand over the guidelines to them, do you also like guide them through through it? Is there a process there?
Yeah, and it depends on like who you're working with, right? But I do find at that point in the project anyway, like having the client gone through that whole process with you from start to finish. They kind of understand like how to use all these different elements, having seen it in action for
Hmm.
a month or 2 months like time like you've spent doing it. And like I say, it does depend on who you're working with. I do think sometimes there's a level of trust there at the end where like the person who you're delivering this brand, this identity to, knows what they're doing. You
Right.
don't need to go to the far end of a far to explain, um, like why you can't flip the logo, why you can't skew the logo. I mean, that's all just, most of it is common sense.
Yeah.
On the other hand, sometimes you do get a person who, you've had to hold their hand the entire time through the project. And you'll probably spend a bit more time explaining things in the document,
Hmm.
or having a chat at the end of the project and just saying, right, this is a brand, because like most of these people have never worked with like designers before.
Yeah.
So, they don't know certain terms, certain words that you're using. So you do need to explain some of those things to them. Like, even though it feels really simple to you, it can be super complicated to these people. So sometimes you need to spend extra time just explaining. But I always, in my like documents, whether it's a PDF or it's like an online toolkit, just be simple with your wording. Don't
Hmm.
like use loads of jargon or buzzwords. Just make it really easy and simple for them to use. Explain the important parts, and like I say, you don't have to go overboard with it, because sometimes it can be overkill.
Yeah. Yeah. It can be overwhelming, but it's a good point what you said there that, you know, we as designers, we see it and it's
Yeah.
super obvious. Some things like PNG,
Mm,
.ai, all these
yeah.
formats, CMYK, and then,
Mm,
you get brand business owners sending logos, and it's like, oh, use this for,
yeah.
like the other day, I got sent a PNG, and they told me, can you print this? It's like, okay,
I mean, I
yeah,
could, but
yeah, but it's like, okay, you know,
yeah,
so stuff like that happens all the time.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think,
we,
like I
we
say, like when you once you go through that process with them, you kind of teach them like along the way,
hmm,
like the whole process, and by the end of it, they're pretty clued up on the whole
yeah.
process. So it doesn't take much explaining.
Yeah, it seems like you get a very intimate relation there with your clients and
Yeah,
guide them through everything. I don't think it's the case for everyone, but I mean,
yeah,
I think that's great, right?
yeah.
If
It's well, I think of it like, if it was my brand and I was like talking to a designer, I'd hired this designer, I would want to be involved in every step.
Yeah.
With it being my brand, my baby, I'd want to have um my point of opinion in every stage, every step of the way. So I always, when I'm dealing with a client, like, first of all, I'll say this is a collaborative experience.
Hmm.
You're not just handing me over a brief and then, I go missing for 2 weeks and then come back.
Yeah.
It's like you're with me every step of the way. Your opinion matters in everything I do.
Great. That's really good. I think, yeah, I mean, there's definitely different ways to work,
Yeah.
but having working with you like that, I can see, clients getting very involved, and obviously it helps the process. Being involved there helps you to come to an agreement, right,
Yeah. Yeah.
towards, hey,
Absolutely.
closing the project as well,
Mm,
and
yeah.
not going back and forth, which does happen.
Yeah.
Okay. What about brand guidelines? Should they ever be broken?
Yes.
Okay.
I think, but only once you like understand the guidelines and you've put them to practice. Like, say you've been handed these guidelines for your brand.
Yeah.
I would say eventually, then you, like, after maybe I don't know, a year or something into business, you can bend the rules slightly, not like fully
Yeah.
break them where you flip the logo upside down and that's how you present it now, or like you change your logo to red from blue. I think, it's in the name, like guidelines. They are just guides. Like sometimes you can color out the lines slightly, as long as it's still at the end of the day represents your brand. It still looks like your brand,
Yeah.
and you know what you're doing as well. Having, like you say, having gone through the process, understanding the whole guidelines, and what that means for your brand. The importance of keeping everything looking the same, having that cohesive look. I do think there is areas where you can just turn it up slightly. You can just kind of just push it out there, because that's like all part of like evolution of brands. Like you just kind of just test things, just explore things a little bit different, and naturally just grow in that direction.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, how I see it is that the brands are living.
Mm,
There's, yes, once you have a solid base, little by little, you can have iterations. Maybe there's a new tagline, a new element.
exactly.
Obviously, there comes a moment when maybe you need a full rebrand and it like
Mm,
you got to change the whole thing, right? But within like one brand identity, there's obviously different stages.
hmm.
And I mean, it's like it's like a website as well, right? You launch your website and, every year you start adding little things that still like they work in cohesion with what you have, right? But they add more to it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something I've been doing personally with my brand. Like, I'll just do little things like here and there. Like, I'll do a little illustration that's a little bit different than what I'd normally do, and
Mm.
just slowly like introduce like new elements, but it's still very much like on brand with, who I am, and what I want to kind of put out there.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so a few questions around Bravemark. You've
Mm.
been like early user. You were in the beta stage,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and we've always loved to see you create your brand kits on the platform and stuff. What's your experience? How do you feel about using Bravemark for the online brand guidelines?
I mean, it's first of all, it's a real pleasure, and it's yeah, I've been with it since the beta stages as well, which is, I don't know how long it's been. Is it 3 years, 2 years, or something like
It's
that?
been like over 2 years.
Two
Yeah,
years.
more than 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the very first kind of like online hub I've ever used.
Okay.
It was the first one that I've ever seen, and honestly, like, I know a lot of people say this term, but it is a real game changer for me. It's like it's become like a default part of my process now, where at the handover, like, I can't wait to get to the point where, I say to the clients, like, and here's a link to your online toolkit. Like, it feels really fancy to say that, rather than like I've attached a PDF like document of like your brand guidelines, which there are still cases for that. But yeah, it's just I don't know. It's like it makes me sleep better at night, I think, knowing that like the client's got everything they need there. I'm not sending a PDF document and then like a folder full of files like separate from that. Compared to like Bravemark, it feels like really old, like an old way of doing things now. But yeah, it's I get a lot of like peace of mind knowing that you can update that toolkit like whenever something new comes, like, if, like you say, with like a brand evolution, like if they want to explore new things, I can just integrate that into the toolkit, update it, and everything's laid out really simple for the user, for the client to like just download whatever they need. It's just honestly been a breeze, and coming from someone who is very much like stuck in their ways, doesn't like change too much, like for that to be just integrate so smoothly into my process and, like I say, become a default point now is honestly, it's just unreal. Really good.
That's really awesome to hear. That yeah, it makes us very happy. We worked hard to make it like easy to use, right?
Yeah.
Like we want to make it simple because dealing with another design tool, it takes time, and so that's always been one of the things that we're focused on. And yeah, and having the files there accessible, right? So it's like
Yeah.
it's all in one place, and
100%.
obviously we have a lot more to do. There's like lots of improvements, and it's ongoing, but yeah, really great to hear that. I remember you shared with me in LinkedIn like a little message from one of your clients that they were like super happy or something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. And that's like something I love as well, because like I say, I do get like a buzz almost saying like, you've got an online like toolkit where you can, it's your own private thing, or it's public, where you can, I don't know, it's like if you got like a PDF document, it's all like visual. You could set it out the same way, but it hasn't got that like interactive element to it, I think.
Yeah.
And I think like with PDF documents, because you can like do a lot more with it visually, I think then people will overcomplicate them,
Yeah.
and make them maybe a bit daunting to look at. Like this looks really like super strict, I've got to really follow these rules, otherwise my brand's gonna fail. I think the Bravemark thing just makes it super clear, super interesting, interactive, easy to follow, navigate. And yeah, I think it just makes you look good as a designer as well.
Yeah.
Like,
Would you say that the clients are impressed as well, right?
oh
By
yeah,
receiving something like this, it's they don't expect it
no,
somehow because I
yeah, I
mean
don't,
it's
yeah.
reasonably new. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if people, like, I use it, like I say, as a default thing now, but
Yeah.
our designers like using it, like these online hubs, whether it's Bravemark or something else, as like an additional thing, where you say, at the end of the project, for a fee or a small fee, like you can have this online toolkit, or you can just have a static PDF. People using it as a selling point now, which I think they're good. I think they're good, honestly, if they're not already.
Cool. And okay, so and then this question. So do you believe static brand guidelines, right? PDF brand guidelines, will they become obsolete in the future? Or do you
Yeah.
think they still have a place in the future?
I mean, I think they still have a place right now. I don't know how far into the future they'll last, but I think probably like in 10 years time, like the way like the world's going, and like the whole thing with AI now, I think it's only a matter of time, I think, before something like that just gets cast aside, in terms of like guidelines, right? I think the more stuff out there that makes your life easier or your design process easier, the more likely you are to adapt to that. And I think that's what really made it an easy choice for me to, set Bravemark up as my default like handover process now. But yeah, I do think there's still a time and place for them. But I do think eventually, yeah, they'll kind of just fizzle out as more and more people are introduced to this, having their own online hub, having everything in one place. And like I say, just making their life easier, which is what everyone wants. The more time that they get to create, like the more time I get to create as well, like the better. The less time
Yeah.
I have, setting up a PDF guideline, like with unnecessary information, or a folder full of files that aren't going to get touched, like the better.
Yeah. That they're quite a lot of work to do PDFs, right? I mean, you can go as deep as you want with them, and for me, the biggest problem is like updating them that's when it really has an issue, because you got to change it. I mean, I do mine in InDesign when I was doing them, and then you got to export it and then send it, and then they have 2 copies, and it's like, oh, you gotta. This is where like it becomes a bit of an issue to use them. All right, Karl, let's wrap this up. A few like quick little fire questions here. What's your favorite font right now?
Right now, I would probably say Rethink Sans, which is a Google font. I just want to say as well, like with Bravemark, because you've got that built-in the Google fonts, like I primarily use Google fonts like all the time. So having that built in is just make things so much easier for me as well.
So that's a great feature.
Yeah, great.
It's helpful to have good.
What about underrated design tool? Anything interesting there you're using that's a bit different?
Not really. Like I say, I'm like really stuck in my ways. Like good old fashioned pen and paper is like the best tool for me. Like I'm very, like I see all these new tools like sprouting out, and like I don't use the Adobe Illustrator either. I use like CorelDRAW.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and honestly, I think what version is it?
CorelDRAW. Wow,
CorelDRAW.
I haven't used that in 20 years.
Well, this is the software that I used when I was a sign maker. So it's been with me for, gosh, 16 years or something like that. And it's not even the latest version as well. It's like it's the 2020 version, so it's like 5 years old.
That's really interesting.
But it does, honestly, it does everything that I need it to do. I don't need any fancy tools, any fancy shortcuts.
Yeah,
it works, and that's all that matters. But yeah, I'm good old fashioned pen and paper for me.
Cool. No, I think like, and with software, right? It's like it's really what you're used to and how fast you can move with it. That matters.
As long as the output as long as the output works, it's fine, you know. And I've been doing it for, like I say, 16 years now, and it's like no issues at all.
Awesome. One piece of advice for new brand designers.
One piece. I would say, just like I said, like I mentioned earlier in the call, just be yourself. Like in terms of like, if you wanted to get yourself out there, like make a name for yourself, almost, is just lean into your own quirks. Just be you, be human, be honest, be silly. Don't take yourself too seriously, and do some early exploration. Don't just kind of niche into something like right from the get-go. Just try your hand at different things. You know, that's what I did like back in the day. Just trying my hand at different things to work out what it is exactly that I love doing, which is, you know, the logo design, the branding stuff.
Great. Yeah. Good advice there. For anyone that wants to keep up with you, where's the best place?
The best place is on my Instagram, and that's at Karl McCarthy Design.
Yeah, great. I will add those links to the description as well. So great. It's been great talking with you, Karl.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Good fun. Time goes fast, but
yeah, it does.
You know,
but we're on time though.
We're on time, but it went fast as well. Let's chat another day.
Absolutely.
You know, and I'm looking forward to see your new projects on the platform.